Hey everybody! This week I felt like it's relevant to talk about young people in the modern family since it's Valentine's Day, and a lot of you are in the dating scene, so this topic comes up a lot. There's a lot of great things about living in the 21st century, putting aside what you hear about in the media, corrupt politicians, or whatever, and provided our government doesn't fully hand us on a silver platter to the Chinese government, we're still kind of living in a comfortable era. This is still the era with the least amount of physical wars and violence. Women have more freedom than they used to. Even in a lot of old-fashioned Middle East countries, the women are being given more rights, like being able to drive a car, maybe even walking outside without a male guardian. Ooh. Oddly, with that freedom, women are choosing to marry less and have fewer children. Why is that? I get why men wouldn't want to marry nowadays when they have less power, way less power in their marriage, but why not women? You might not agree with my answers, and I want to hear your feedback in the comments. The reason why I think modern men and women aren't getting married and starting a family is because marriage, the way a lot of us know it, is completely outdated. First of all, from a man's perspective, marriage in the West is totally not fair. Women are getting all these new freedoms and entitlements without any of the responsibilities or expectations of a free person. With all these laws paying child support, alimony, the woman getting half of everything you build up your entire life or more. The woman has complete power to sue you and screw you over if you marry her. And on top of that, of course, you have to pay for everything for while you're married and throw a diamond ring on top of that. And for a man in the West, getting married is pretty much a death sentence if you don't 150% trust the woman that you're getting with. And you're still gonna have to put up with a lot of the BS because you're the man. You might think that these laws that allow women to screw over men in their marriages give women a leg up, but they don't. As a woman, from my perspective, women don't need to have that kind of leverage over men to be happy. The thing that would make me happy is that I get to be in a loving partnership, not in a traditional marriage where it's all about power and survival and gender roles. Modern women are free and our lives are great. We have jobs, we can take care of ourselves. We got our family and friends to talk to if we get bored. We can get a sperm donor if we just wanted to have kids. So unless we're getting married because we want to, for love, we don't actually need a guy for those things. And then there's the kids. Having kids is a lot more difficult in the West than it is in developing countries where the kids are raising themselves. As a Western parent, you have to micromanage your kids and do their homework for them and wipe their ass and coddle them like crazy. There's all these child labor laws, so it's not like any of your kids will be self-sufficient anytime soon, and you got to go hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt so your kid can get a dumb piece of paper from an overpriced university that doesn't even teach them anything valuable like how to make money. And don't expect your kid to appreciate you for that, by the way. According to recent studies, most Americans nowadays hate their parents, especially their moms. And that's despite the fact that women in America nowadays are much calmer, more educated, and supposedly nicer to their kids than moms were in the past. I don't know about you, but personally, I've thought about this before. As a woman in the modern world who has so many options, it's really tempting to think, why should I give up on my hopes and dreams in life just so I can have a little human grow inside of me that sucks out all my energy, all my nutrients, destroys my body, causes tears in my vagina and bladder muscles? I could die in childbirth. I've heard all these stories. The men walk out and cheat on their wives that are pregnant because the women are like cranky and disheveled. They're unable to have sex. And when the baby finally comes out, the mom is biologically forced to be the primary caregiver that spends all day with the kid and lets the kid keep sucking the nutrients out of her tits. The kid is gonna even take my husband's family name, not mine. Look, I know this sounds like a rude way for me to talk about trad life, and I'm sure there's a mom watching this video and saying, "How dare you? I love being a mother. It's so magical." And I'm not denying that you love being a mother and that you chose this life, but if we're being honest, every fertile woman in the modern world has had these concerns at some point in her life. If despite having freedom, young adults are choosing not to get married and have kids, and despite parents being way nicer, kids are still hating their parents a lot more than they used to, maybe something is wrong. Maybe we need new ideas for marriage and parenting. In order for young people to want to get married in the modern world, there has to be an incentive. Something about getting married that would make our lives better than they were before. By keeping outdated standards of marriage, you're decentivizing people from getting married because their lives are already great. In the olden days, when women were illiterate and dumb and not in control of their emotions, they saw no lives for themselves other than one spent at home cooking, cleaning, and changing diapers. Getting married meant having a roof over their head and surviving. And also in the olden days, it took a lot longer to do a lot of house tasks, so you kind of needed to be home full time to do those things. Not like housewives nowadays who have all the time in the world to being helicopter moms for their kids. For men, getting married was the only way to have a clean, stable household because the men in the olden days were barbarians. But the more civilized and westernized and powerful we become as human, the more time and technology we have to accomplish what we need to accomplish. And the more we, men and women, realize that we don't need each other for those things anymore. Women are realizing we could be doing a lot more with our lives than doing laundry and having dinner ready by 6. And men are realizing they don't need to marry their maid. They can hire a maid, they can marry the woman that they love and respect, or not marry her. The fact is that in the countries where the women have more freedoms and rights, than like in the West, they're choosing to have fewer kids. And in the worst African countries in terms of freedom, in these countries where women are being routinely raped and beaten and treated like animals, they're popping the kids out willingly in most cases. According to the World Fact Book, that's 7 kids per woman on average in Niger, for example. At least the thinking was your 7 kids might protect you from your abusive husband. Compare that with a rate of less than 1.5 children per woman in Western European countries like Germany and Austria. Here in the United States, it's a little bit better but we're still much farther behind than just a couple of decades ago, when it was normal for women to have 4, 7, even 10 kids, willingly without the threat of violence. Sorry for the word vomit. Not to be emo and distract from the topic at hand, but in a very short time, we can expect the overwhelming majority of the world's population to be people living in Africa and the Middle East, and the freedom-loving West will just be dying out. It's just the truth. The problem is that even in developed countries, we've been giving our kids, including daughters, the freedom to expand their minds, but at the same time teaching them outdated ideas about traditional roles. Men are violent, women are weak. Don't forget to open the door for your woman. She can't do it herself. Don't go alone near a man. He's probably going to rape you because men are animals. These are the kind of messages that I was raised with growing up. I know mine was a special case, but I see people sending these messages out all the time in the secular world. I know your intention is to be a rational conservative by establishing these differences in gender, but we're already so different biologically that I don't think we need to pile on all these social differences on top of that. Communicating with the opposite sex is hard enough already, and you're only driving more division, in my opinion. We have to remind young people what building a family is really about. Love, partnership, not necessity, and trad roles. To the extent that you're different and you can't help it, that only one of you is able to get pregnant, only one of you has upper body strength, perhaps try to make up for it by being a 50-50 partnership in all other areas where you can help it. Women have jobs now. Guys shouldn't be expected to pay their way through college and pick up the tab on your date. Men have 2 hands and 2 eyes and 2 feet and a brain. Women shouldn't be expected to do their laundry and cook for them like a maid. I feel very fortunate that I was able to have a lot of these kind of conversations with my boyfriend. And I know not everybody needs to have everything 50-50 the way I like it, but I'd imagine a lot of young Americans would benefit from the 50-50 life. Because of traditional expectations, they might be too embarrassed to ask for it or don't think it's possible, but I know a lot of people feel the way that I do. So I'm here to tell you that it's possible. Anything is possible, really. You just have to keep asking for these things in life, no matter if you're a guy or a girl. And maybe you'll want to get married and start a family, not because you live in a third world country and your life sucks, not because you need a housemate or someone to pay your bills, but because you actually found someone who makes your life better than it already is. Happy Valentine's Day.